Section 5.5, our objective today is I can apply definitions and properties of trapezoids. So first of all, let's define what a trapezoid is. A trapezoid is a quadrilateral with exactly one pair of parallel sides. So this quadrilateral would be an example of a trapezoid where these two sides are parallel, and the two parallel sides are called the bases. Okay, so the base has nothing to do with how the trapezoid sits on the paper. The bases are always the two sides that are parallel, and the other two sides, the sides that are not parallel, are called the legs of the trapezoid. Okay. And then we have a special trapezoid that's called an isosceles trapezoid. Okay. And an isosceles trapezoid is one where the legs of the trapezoid are congruent. Oops. Can't spell congruent today. Are congruent, okay? And so if these are my parallel sides, then in an isosceles triangle, the two legs would have to be congruent to each other. All right, now that brings us to our first theorem, which deals with isosceles trapezoids. And it says the base angles of an isosceles trapezoid are congruent. Okay? So what that's saying, whoops. If this is my isosceles trapezoid, then this is A, B, C, D. Well, BC is a base, so this angle would have to be congruent to this angle. And AB is also a base, so this angle would have to be congruent to that angle. Okay? So angle A would be congruent to angle B, and angle D would be congruent to angle C. Okay? Then we have another definition that is the median of a trapezoid. Okay? And the median of a trapezoid is the segment that joins the midpoints of the legs of a trapezoid. Okay, so you have to be careful when we're talking about medians, because we have two different types of medians. Okay, we have the median of a trapezoid, which we just defined. So if this is my trapezoid with this side parallel, the median, if this is a midpoint of, let's call this A, B, C, D. So if the median, the midpoint of AD is M, and the midpoint of BC is N, then the segment MN would be the midpoint. Okay? But remember that we also have the median of a triangle, and the median of a triangle goes from the vertex and hits the opposite side at its midpoint. Okay? But in a trapezoid, it gives us actually two pairs of congruent segments. AM is congruent to MD, and BN is congruent to NC. Okay, so the median joins the midpoints. Okay, now from that comes our second theorem, and our second theorem deals with medians of a trapezoid. Okay, and it says the median of a trapezoid, number one, is parallel to the bases, and number two, has a length equal to the average of the bases. Well, remember how you find the average of something? So if you have two numbers, to find the average, you add those two numbers together and divide by 2. Okay? So if we have this trapezoid, where this is parallel to this is Z, this is O, this is I, this is D, and we have median MN. Oops, MN. And this is supposed to be an I. Okay, so we know that the median is parallel to the bases. Okay, so we know that ZO is parallel to MN, which is parallel to DI. Okay, so we're given that. And we know that the length of MN is equal to 1/2 the length of ZO plus the length of DI. Okay? So, examples. Okay, so given this trapezoid, whoops, okay, where this is 12, this is 6, and we have this median, which is x. Okay, what is the value of x? Well, since x is the median of an isosceles triangle, the theorem just told us that the length of the median is equal to the average of the bases. So 12 plus 6 divided by 2. So that's 18 divided by 2, or 9. Okay? Example number 2. Okay, if I have this trapezoid with this median, and I know that this is x plus 12, this is 5x, and this is 7x minus 2, then we know that the median, which is 5x, is equal to the bases added together. So x plus 12 is the first base, plus the second base is 7x minus 2. And then we have to divide that by 2. And then from there, it's just algebra. So 5x is equal to 8x plus 10 divided by 2. Well, we can reduce here. We can factor a 2 out. So that reduces. So we get 5x equals 4x plus 5. So subtract 4x from both sides, so x equals 5 is our answer. Okay? Then Next example. Okay, we have a trapezoid. This is B, C, D, and this is A. We know this is 8. We know this is 70, and this is X. Okay. And we know that this is 8. Okay, so we know that this is an isosceles triangle, so we know base angles are congruent. So we know that this has to be 70. Okay. And we know that since this is parallel to this, then this would be my transversal. And so this angle, angle B, and this angle, angle A, have to be supplementary. So we know measure of angle A plus measure of angle B have to equal 180. And we know angle A is 70. So measure of angle B has to be 110 degrees. Okay? But we know that these have to be equal because they're base angles. So measure of angle C is also 110. So X is 110 degrees. Okay? Okay, next example. If I have this trapezoid, where this is parallel to this, and this is supposed to be isosceles, okay? And this angle is 130 degrees. Then this angle would also have to be 130 because it's an isosceles. And since this is parallel to this and this is a transversal, we know that these two angles have to be supplementary. So that means this angle would have to be 50 degrees and this angle would have to be 50 degrees. Okay? All right, and that's it for today.